Now, I don't believe that the Obama administration is aiming to create a financial and economic crisis right now. Obama doesn't want to create an economic crisis on his own watch because he would be held responsible. He would be politically punished. But I do think that Obama is flirting with a fiscal crisis in order to stampede the country toward a larger welfare state, in order to expand taxation, perhaps through a value-added tax, as we see in Europe. He's walking a fine line.
Next, the Weather Underground Revolution.
The Weather Underground, the Weathermen. Now that's a group that really did believe in violent revolution. Let's explode some bombs. Let's attack some capitalists. They exploded their bombs and Americans did not rally to them. Brown miserably failed to create and spark a revolution in the United States.
That was Stanley Kurtz, author of Radical in Chief. More insightful commentary from him a little later on this hour. But now to the 1960s radicals who became 1970s terrorists. Today, believe it or not, they're helping run our country. The Weather Underground bombed New York City Police headquarters in 1970, U.S. Capitol Building in 71, the Pentagon in 72, police cars in May of 1973, and in 1974, the Weather Underground wrote about what needed to be done. Quote, "We have an urgent responsibility to destroy imperialism from within in order to help free the world and ourselves from its grasps. Without underestimating the difficulties, this is our position of strength. We all will use the weapons available to us." Watch what they suggested that radical revolutionaries would do in 1969, okay? They said it usually takes two steps. Their goal was to kill the capitalist system and install world socialism, okay? The first thing, in their words, was a dictatorship of a new democracy. This is a key word. It was a compromise between the poor and the working classes in America. Then, out of this new democracy would develop socialism. The steps: 1, a united front against imperialism and for a new democracy. And 2, developing out of the new democratic stage, socialism. But the Weather Underground wanted a quick one-step move for revolution. That plan turned out to be too radical to be successful, and that's when they went into the bombings. They decided that it might be better here to move into a more acceptable form of slow and soft revolution. The man in the administration initially putting in the charge of economic revolution towards a green economy was Van Jones. He said almost this. This is, you tell me. Van Jones described the two steps, but he used more friendly terms: minimum goals and maximum goals. And here's what he said.
I think that this green movement has to pursue those same steps and stages. Right now we're saying we want to move from suicidal gray capitalism to some kind of eco-capitalism where, at least we're not, fast-tracking the destruction of the whole planet. Will that be enough? No, it won't be enough. We want to go beyond systems of exploitation and oppression altogether, but that's a process.
We're going to change the whole system. We're going to change the whole thing. We're not going to put a new battery in a broken system. Got it?
A system of oppression. That's what this is all about. That's what they call capitalism, imperialism, and oppression. So who were some of the members of the Weather Underground, and where are they now? They're writing our bills, they're teaching our children, and no one seems to care. Isn't that fantastic? The New York chair of the Apollo Alliance, the people who designed the stimulus package, and you thought it was your representatives. His name is Jeff Jones. There's a pic. Oh, well, we couldn't really actually get a picture. We had to get his fingerprints and his mugshot there. Jeff Jones, before deciding, who to give your tax dollars to, Jones co-founded the Weather Underground. Jeff Jones now has his own consulting firm that helps progressives achieve their goals. He's on the board of a movement for democratic society that works closely with SDS. Yes, SDS is still there. It is now growing the new Weatherman and Weather Underground, now available possibly in your child's high school. Bill Ayers. He served on the board with President Obama at the Woods Foundation. They were neighbors, and Obama attended a campaign event at this man's house. He's now a respected and influential member of society. And his lovely and talented wife, Bernadine Doran, married to Bill Ayers. She's now an associate professor of law at Northwest University School of Law and was director of Northwestern's Children and Family Justice Center. She's teaching kids. Isn't that great? Have you ever wondered why they always go after the youth? How do they do it? Well, manifesto. 1969, Weather Underground. In general, young people have less stake in society. They have no family, have fewer debts, etc. They are more open to new ideas. They haven't been brainwashed for so long or so well. And they are therefore more able and willing to move in a revolutionary direction. That's why nobody's talking about getting the older vote. You got to get the young vote. Now, are they doing this? Are they targeting and are they pitting the youth against the older generation? Let me give you this audio sent in from a listener. Inauguration Day, Al Gore in front of teenage students in a closed room, no adults, just students. This is what he said.
There are some things about our world that you know that older people don't know.
What is that, Al? What are those things? So the kids who are the most vulnerable to these ideas, they're now being taught by our leaders. They're being taught in school. Look at this. Look at this. Here's Soros money, the Tides Foundation, teaching our kids. This is a field trip, students going to revolutionary memorials. Here is a teacher saying, take the country on, it's a revolution. And here is SDS, their website. It's still in operation. It's still going after our kids. The amazing thing is we have stood silently on the sidelines as they directly target our children. Back to the Weatherground Manifesto. Here it is. We will reach the high school kids who are in motion by being in the schoolyards, the hangouts, and on the streets on an everyday basis. Why do you think that, where is he? This guy is a professor that writes school books. This is indoctrination in the purest sense. They have to get you while you're young, or you're going to reject this nonsense because you know better. Coming up next.
What's your name?
Heather Booth.
Heather, are you with Acorn?
I'm for building a better society and a better world.
She looks and sounds like a nice woman, right? So what does it matter what she and others did in the 1960s? The next segment is going to help you connect the dots, and it will all start to come together. We've been telling you on this program for a long time that 1960s revolutionaries are running the country today with Obama inside and outside the administration. They're all cleaned up now, so they don't look like revolutionaries from the 60s, but their missions certainly haven't changed. And now they know all the right people in Washington to help execute those plans.
If you look at the Obama administration, the people Obama has appointed are generally not these radical community organizers. Of course, there are exceptions. We all know about Van Jones. There are some very important socialist-leaning radicals that Obama has brought directly into his administration. But for the most part, Obama has decided to work with the socialist community organizers who sponsored his political career by keeping them just on the outside of his administration. In fact, Obama's socialist community organizing mentors had a name for this. They called it the inside-outside strategy. The idea was that you get these hardball Alinskyite and stealthily socialist community organizers attacking, confronting businesses and senators, congressmen, state representatives, storming their offices. But then you put inside the state legislature, inside the U.S. Congress, you put someone who coordinates with those community organizers, but who doesn't use their hardball tactics. someone who advertises himself as willing to listen to all points of view, someone who is the nice guy. So really, Barack Obama can be thought of as the ultimate Alinskyite good cop. He's the good cop who cooperates and coordinates with those bad cops. The Midwest Academy was founded and run by veterans of the SDS. The organizers of the Academy funded Obama, they trained Obama, and most important of all, they sponsored Barack Obama's political career. They are still, to this day, running the ground game of this administration. They are still coordinating the efforts to support health care legislation, to support the president's budget, to support financial reform. Heather Booth, the founder of the Midwest Academy, is head of Americans for Financial Reform, the key lobbying organization backing the financial reform bill.
Heather Booth of the Midwest Academy. Didn't her husband help found SDS? We actually caught up with her outside the Acorn anniversary party way back in 2009. Griff Jenkins went on assignment for us and asked the former 1960s radical what she thought about the group whose aim is to collapse America.
What's your name?
Heather Booth.
Heather, are you with Acorn?
I'm for building a better society and a better world. And the folks in that room are part of the people who help build a better world.
Now, does it concern you at all that the folks in there are under investigation for voter fraud issues?
No, there are all sorts of charges. I'm familiar with their work, and I think that they are I'm pleased about the work that they're doing.
Oh, of course, Acorn is just wonderful. So who else thought so? Senators and congresswomen like Maxine Waters, who now face ethics charges in the House.
Hey, Senator, Griff Jenkins of the Fox News. Just ask you a question. Hey, Congressman. Griff Jenkins of Fox News. How are you?
I knew you were Fox News.
How you doing, Mr. Podesta? Griff Jenkins. I thought I said, were you on a moped?
Why are you?
Did I see you drive up on a moped?
Why are you? No, you didn't.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw something.
Why are you in a tuxedo? Whether you're rich or poor, you have an equal right to vote, an equal right to register to vote, and that's what Acorn's all about.
Why do you support Acorn, and how do you feel about being honored tonight with, being under federal investigation?
Well, I am so pleased to be honored by Acorn. They represent poor people.
Would you be willing to call for Acorn just to open their books, air it out, let's see everything so we can put this behind us?
No, I would not. As a matter of fact, you said that it is already in the criminal justice system and they're being investigated. Let the investigation go forward as it should. It's not my business to interject myself in it.
What did you get there? Tell me what that is.
It's a symbol of organizing. I think this is the organizing equivalent of an Oscar.
One of the radicals you saw in that last clip was John Podesta. He's the one Acorn gave an award to. You remember him. He's the head of the Center for American Progress. Now, what kind of influence would the Center for American Progress have, especially when it was just full of revolutionaries like Van Jones? Does he have any effect on the president? It has been well documented that the policies for the Center for American Progress are the policies of the White House. This is the George Soros organization. From health care to the stimulus to the financial regulations, all comes from here first. You can trace the Obama agenda and all the people in the White House right directly back to the Center for American Progress. It's where Van Jones is. It's where Van Jones came from. So, now what are they working on next? Well, education. Securing our youth's future. Here it is, education reform. Center for American Progress has published a new report on some recommendations on, what we should cut in our federal education programs. The report has outlined some interesting cuts to our programs. And here's what they believe needs to go, according to the Center for American Progress. They write, the Department of Education supports numerous, mostly small grant programs that serve niche purposes. Many of these programs should be eliminated, including the niche program, Academies for American History and Civics. Okay, history is a niche program. Who needs it?